Let's get started. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and introducing yourselves in the chat. My name is Mary Beth Becker-Loth. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the domestic violence community educator at Women's Advocates. Welcome to our journaling workshop. I'm really excited to have you all here this evening. Before we officially dive into the webinar, I want to acknowledge and extend a whole ton of gratitude to our ASL interpreters. I will get right to it. Let's go. So again, I am from Women's Advocates. We're a nonprofit in St. Paul that offers a continuum of safety through our prevention programming, emergency shelter, and aftercare housing support services for victim survivors of domestic violence and their children. Welcome. Before the workshop begins, I do want to know where we're all coming from. So I'm going to launch a poll real quick. Go ahead and answer that while I'm talking. I just want to get a feel for who we all are in this space today. And in this 1 hour workshop, we're going to focus on getting through the dark, short days of winter. We'll be doing 3 10-minute journal prompts that will focus on preparing ourselves for the season, releasing the parts of ourselves that have kind of shriveled up in the cold, and emerging into longer days and brighter light after the solstice. So just go ahead and finish up submitting poll questions. I'll give you just about 30 more seconds. All right, gonna end this poll. Looks like we've got a lot of victim survivors in the building or in the Zoom this evening. Thank you all so much for being here. We are so happy to have you. All right. And before we start in on the content or on writing prompts, I want to get a feel for everybody's history with journaling. Many people have a primal instinct to record, to write down the truth of their lives as it happens. From the moment we learn to write, we've been putting our lives down on paper. And I know this is true for me. I started my first journal when I was 9 years old. And I try to write at least one page a day still, but not everybody has that experience. So I do want to get a feel for what's your experience with journaling? How long have you been doing it? Have you been doing it at all? Any answer is okay. Just tell me where you're coming from. All right, looks like we've got some journalers here. Awesome, I love this. I'll go ahead and give you a couple more seconds to answer polls before I continue. There's another poll after this too, so be warned. All right, we've got some fairly inconsistent journalers. We have some fairly consistent journalers and somebody who's never journaled before. Welcome. All of your experience is welcome here. I know for a lot of people, journaling is really fun and great. And for others, the act of recording is really scary. So how do you feel about journaling? Does it scare you or excite you? Have you tried it before? Let's see. And one final reminder before I close the poll, Christina Baldwin, who's a writer whose work is really foundational to this workshop, says journal writing leads us where we have already decided we're willing to go. So this evening, try to be open and let journaling just meet you where you're at. All right. This is where we're all coming from. Let's go. All right, some things to keep in mind this evening. Journaling can be really transformative and liberating, and that's because it is an extremely emotional practice. The prompts that I've chosen for us today are designed to meet you at where you're at, so you can engage with them as lightly and surface level or as deeply as you want. It's all a matter of what you're comfortable with. But still, you might recall some difficult memories, or journaling could bring up some emotions that surprise you or that you're not quite ready for. So do what you need to take care of yourself. Step away if things get too heavy. Take a break to get water or a snack. All of this content will be waiting for you when you return. We'll be emailing copies of the prompts and of the slides after this workshop, so you're not missing out by taking care of your own needs. And finally, this is a judgment-free zone. This is not an MFA writer's workshop. We are just journaling. This is for your eyes only. You are your only audience, so try to resist the urge to write well, and just write. I also really encourage you not to edit during our writing time. Just write what comes. Don't think about whether it sounds good. It doesn't need to sound good. It's what you're thinking. It's how you're feeling. It doesn't need to be pretty. It just needs to be. And so now we'll move on to our journal prompts. This is a practice slide. Anytime you see the journal icon, it means that this slide includes a prompt or a writing activity. The rest of our prompts are going to have 10 minutes of writing time. This one's just going to have 5 because it's practice. But during those minutes, try to keep your hand moving the whole time if you can, or your fingers moving on your keyboard, or however you write. Just try to keep doing it. Just get it all down. I'll let you know when there's 1 minute left so you can start wrapping up. And after time is up, you're absolutely welcome to share bits and pieces of your writing in the chat, but only if you want to. So this first prompt is a warm-up, so you're not jumping into the prompts cold. You'll already be in the writing mindset. I'm going to give us 5 minutes to set a timer. I'm going to set a timer, and you can just answer these couple questions as you see fit. Do you have hesitations about this workshop or about journaling in general? Or you can use this time to write your own permission slip to inquire, celebrate, and explore, whatever that means for you. All right, I'm turning my camera off for 5 minutes. I'm setting my timer for 5 minutes. I will let you know when we've got a minute left. I'll see you on the other side. I hope this one works. All right, everybody, we have about a minute left. So if you want to just take this time to finish your thought, wrap up a last sentence or two, make some notes so that you can come back to this. And if you'd like to, you can take this time to share in the chat. You can share excerpts, the whole thing, whatever you want. Okay. Good job, everybody. We've made it through our first journal prompt. I hope that was helpful in warming you up for the coming prompts. We've got 3 more left. I'm really excited to talk with you about this. Right. So I wanted to focus this workshop on the winter season because it can be so fraught with tension, whether or not you're a survivor of domestic violence. There are so many struggles that happen this season. Now that it's December, the days are growing shorter, faster. For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, the Earth's axis is tilted in such a way that we don't get exposed to the same sunlight we're used to, and that messes with our circadian rhythm. So many people, myself included, experience disruptions in our sleep schedule and in our energy level during this time. And this is also the time of year where people experience seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, which is a specific type of depression that is caused by the low light of winter. There are also the pressures we face around the holiday season. We've gotten through Thanksgiving and we've gotten through Hanukkah, but other holidays are on the horizon, and there are tons of stressors around that, right? Like, we might be worrying about encountering former abusers at holiday gatherings. We could be just overwhelmed by the length of our to-do list this time of year. I know I've got just a bunch of stuff to do. And for some people, what is a season of cheer for most is actually the exact opposite. Whether it's due to past trauma, complicated family dynamics, or something else, December might just be a melancholy time for people. Personally, I'll be away from my family this Christmas and New Year's, and that is a real struggle for me. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with this workshop. We've got, the holidays are great for a lot of us. It's also a time where it's hard to be someone who struggles. And so I wanted to take some time to acknowledge that it is okay if you're having a hard time this time of year. There are a lot of reasons for it. So prompt 1. In this first part of December, we are getting ourselves ready for the rest of winter. I know in Minnesota, the snow stuck to the ground for the first time last night. So it already feels like winter, but the season doesn't officially start till the 21st. So right now we're still in the lead up. We're still getting ready. So this prompt is centered on preparing. We're going to take 10 minutes. And during this time, take inventory of the good stuff. What skills and strengths do you have now that you grew in over the past year? Take ample time to love on yourself for those gifts, because it's been a hard year, and the fact that you have developed something out of it is cause for celebration. And then let's get to your worries. So you can write about what's got you nervous for this coming winter. Maybe take another look at your skills and strengths and see if there's anything that you can lean on to make it through this time. I am going to pop in with a 1-minute reminder so you know when to wrap up, but I'm going to turn my camera off and start writing. I'll see you all in 10 minutes. Okay, everybody, we have about a minute left in this first prompt. Um, Take this last minute to wrap up any lingering thoughts you have, to reflect on what you've written, maybe share it in the chat if you'd like. Or you can take this time to jot down any notes you want, so that you're not so that if you want to continue this prompt later on, you're not having to remember, oh, what was I going to say? Take those notes now, set yourself up for success later this evening. And stop. All right. So thank you all for engaging in that first prompt. Before we get to the second, I want to take some time to talk about solstice. It might be a little woo-woo, but I do want to talk about it. Winter solstice is a time to turn inward and reflect as the nights get shorter and shorter and the days get longer later this spring. When the year comes to close, we start to think about all that we've been through this past year. 2021 has given us plenty of good things, absolutely, but it has also served us with our fair share of challenges. So solstice is a time to honor our struggles, to tell ourselves, hey, I see everything you've done and everything you've been through this year, and it meant something. And just as it's important to acknowledge all of the challenges we've faced this year, the solstice is also a time for us to bring in the light. Like, think about it. In just a few weeks, the days are going to start to get longer again, little by little. And until then, what can we do to allow ourselves joy, to bring in all the light that we can during these last dark nights, these last 15-ish dark nights? The darkness of winter is a time of rest for most of nature. The bears are hibernating, the birds are flying south, and humans too. We're all slowing down to rest. You might find yourself moving a little more slowly this season, and that's normal. So, how can you find rest for your inner self? How can you invite your soul to disconnect from that constant pressure to be on all the time? How can you follow nature's lead and find ways to hibernate or comfort yourself during this season? So really take the time to think about how are you going to allow yourself rest? You deserve rest. This is a season to do that. And with that, we move on to prompt 2 already. As we think about the past year and the winter we are staring down, let's focus on our second prompt, releasing. What parts of yourself are dormant, exhausted, unheard? What parts of yourself are shriveling up and dying? Praise yourself during this time for carrying on, for continuing through this year, even under the weight of all of that stress, or even under the stress of all of that baggage. Praise yourself for getting through, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. And then when you're ready, take those parts of yourself that are exhausted, that are dying, that are sloughing off, and release them. Imagine leaving those parts of yourself behind in the darkness, burning them, setting them to into the wind on the breeze, letting them go in some other way. Again, we are going to take 10 minutes. I'll remind us when we have 1 minute left. I hope you have a good time with this prompt. All right, one more minute. Go ahead and wrap up your thoughts on this second prompt. I hope you're not trying to edit while you write. If you are, I understand the urge, but try to just accept your thoughts as they come. All right. Go ahead and go ahead like folks are already doing. Share your thoughts or what you've written from this prompt in the chat. And let's move forward. We have one prompt left in our time together, so let's make the most of it. So I want to, before we do our final prompt, I do want to give folks the opportunity to build our toolkit for the winter. How do we prepare for winter, and how do we endure it? How do we get through? If you deal with seasonal depression every year, you really start to notice here the changes in your energy and in your enthusiasm over time. You start to be able to predict, oh man, it's October. I'm starting to feel kind of crummy. This seems like last year. When you start to notice these patterns, you can begin to prepare your toolkit for making it through the dark days of winter. And one of those elements is vitamin D. One of those tools in the toolkit is vitamin D. The super low levels of sunlight, especially up in the Northern Hemisphere, especially up in the north part of the Northern Hemisphere, it means very low levels of vitamin D. So consider adding a vitamin to your daily routine, or cook some foods that are high in vitamin D. It does build up in your system over time. So what I do personally is I start taking more vitamin D at like the autumn equinox, when things really when the sun really starts to go down earlier. I start right away, so that by the time it does get dark at about 5 p.m., I've built up enough in my system to feel like I can keep going. Another tool we can access is time outdoors, which I know it's cold, it's windy, it's dark, it's not fun to be outside, but you can bundle up. I know you can do it. Knit yourself a nice little hat and scarf if you want, but try and soak up as much of that natural sunlight as you can. Go outside for just a few minutes every day, even if it's cold. Spending time in nature is so important, especially in the winter, and it really can give you a boost, especially if you do a fast walk. You don't really feel the cold that much right at the beginning. You definitely do, but you do it long enough, you get used to it, it doesn't feel that bad anymore. And also creature comforts, get cozy. Winter is way more bearable when you're surrounded by stuff that you love. I hate winter, but I love looking forward to wearing my cozy socks and putting my twinkly lights up. Seriously, right now I am wearing these like little these like fuzzy little slipper socks that I wear around the office in the winter, and it makes me smile every day that I put on my cozy little socks. So surround yourself with comfy cozies that make winter more bearable, and it can help. And then connection and play. In the winter, you might feel the urge to stay inside and hibernate and not go out. And I know I just told you that getting rest and hibernating is important, but isolation also deepens our depression. So find just a little something to put on the calendar, like dinner with friends or a cookie exchange or going to a holiday market or a winter carnival. Just put something on the calendar to give yourself a few things to look forward to, and make fun a designated part of your winter. So those are some tools that you can use to build your seasonal toolkit as the light wanes. But we also know that after winter comes the spring. So, speaking of hope, let's invite her into this workshop. Let's bring hope in with our third prompt, which is emerging. So, we're going to take 10 minutes again. How are you looking forward to the spring season emerging? And who do you want to be when it arrives? We've got a couple months to get ready for it. So it's time to start thinking about when spring emerges in March of 2022, which sounds like a long time away from now, but really isn't very long. Who do you want to be? So you can talk about that in your journaling, but you can also write your own little narrative. Picture yourself on a bright spring day in 2022. What are you doing? Who's with you? What kind of thoughts do you have? Allow yourself to daydream, but in the present tense, like it's already happening to you, because it is. All right, we're going to take our last 10 minutes. I will give you a warning at 1 minute, but again, let's take some more time. This is our last prompt, so really make the most of it. I'll see you in 10. All right, folks, we have 1 minute left in our very last prompt. So go ahead and wrap up your vision for the spring. Go ahead and put down any last thoughts. Dot your I's, cross your T's. Close out in just a moment. Yes, in the comments, nothing but positive thoughts in the coming seasons. Good vibes only, folks. All right. Well, if you want to share anything that you have written in the past hour or so in the chat, please feel free to. But in the meantime, I am just so grateful to all of you for showing up today, for each other, for yourselves, for journaling. Showing up to journaling is hard, especially if you don't do it often. So thank you all so much for just going for it today. Oh, I love this. I want to enter the new year in a way that allows me to unwaveringly be and love myself. I wish that for all of you. I hope that this new coming year, you are able to be and love yourselves unwaveringly. So grateful for all of you. In the meantime, you can get connected with us online. Stay connected, please. I am going to send a link real quick in the chat to our post-webinar survey and all of that good stuff. Please feel free to fill out that post-webinar survey, and then you'll get a link. You'll get an email in the next couple of days with a link to the PowerPoint slides and information on the certificate of attendance and all of that. But in the meantime, you've got all of that here now. I am going to stop our recording.